Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffery Combs, bringing back the old school today, old school content today. Looking forward to communicating and connecting with you here on Facebook Live. On the last Facebook Live of June on the Golden Mastermind Podcast. So good to be here with you. Aaron, good to see you this afternoon. So if you can bring all the gang or the troops here, you want them to witness this content today. So if you are part of Josh's team, I'm going to bring some really old school content to the Facebook Live today. And if you're going to be attending the Millionaire Blueprint, please just let me know by messaging me or letting me know via text at 209-649-1562. If you're going to attend Millionaire Blueprint in July, I would be honored. Zarek, good to see you this afternoon. Jared, good to see you this afternoon. Jared will be attending Millionaire Blueprint number 7. So good to see you, Jared, your 3-year anniversary this summer as you attended the first one in 2022. Content from today is called the Vacuum Law of Prosperity. Good to see you, David. David, let me know if you're coming to Millionaire Blueprint. I'm starting to put the roster together. It's right around the corner. We're now down to 6 weeks away. Danielle, good to see you. Good to see all of you. So the content today is going to be called the Vacuum Law of Prosperity. And I first learned of that term from this man right here, Bob Proctor. Rosalinda, good to see you. Bob Proctor was a whole next level speaker. I shared the stage with him on 3 different occasions. Bob just recently passed a few years ago during COVID. Now, this was his international bestseller. The book was called You Were Born Rich, and Bob gave this to me back in 98. So in 1998, this book was given to me and autographed to me by Bob Proctor. I shared the stage with him at an event in Acapulco, Mexico. It was my very first speaking engagement. I shared the stage with Bob actually on 4 different occasions: Acapulco, Los Angeles, and I shared the stage with him in Acapulco twice in LA and twice in Acapulco. And he coined the term the vacuum law of prosperity. You can find some of his old school content on YouTube, and you can also find it on Profit School TV on Instagram. Now, I created my own audio program right here. I produced this in 1999. This is one of my first programs, and this was back in the day, originally an audio cassette program. This was the first program that I converted to CDs. This is my first CD set in 2000. So produced it in 1999, converted it into CD in 2000, and many of you have that content in your back office. If you don't have it, you can purchase it on Golden Mastermind. Some of you already have that. It's called Principles for Prosperity, and it will allow you to understand what it means to have prosperity consciousness. Now, today's Facebook Live GMS Podcast is on the vacuum law of prosperity. So in the vacuum, it means that you're creating a space by you're taking out the old, and you're creating a new space to bring in the new. So the new law of prosperity is that you begin to live in prosperity consciousness. Prosperity is the flow. In Latin, prosperity means prospero. That's how it's spelled, prospero. And it means in the flow. Now, if you're in resistance, if you're in overwhelm, if you're in anxiety, fear, and doubt, if you're in a traumatic relationship, if you have a lot of debt, if you are married to a narcissist, if you have a boss or a significant other that is very, very challenging to you, or you're in conflict with yourself or others frequently, then you're going to be in high degrees of anxiety, fear, and doubt. And if you grew up in a household where there were narcissistic personalities, parents, you're an adult child of, whatever the situation is, if you grow up in these situations and you continue to carry that baggage through your life, then you will have challenges being prosperous. You'll be in a debt cycle, an overwhelmed cycle, you'll be in traumatic relationships, and you'll recreate the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. Now, for those of you who are my clients, I've been sending you the video, the Joe Dispenza video and the David Hawkins video One is on sabotage, and one is on how we spend so much time thinking, processing, and analyzing. When I send you those videos, those obviously are yours to watch over and over. And I've sent them to most all of you, and you definitely want to watch that content over and over, because sabotage is why you're not prosperous. Sabotage is you create your own challenges to unwind them, and when you're in these overwhelmed challenges and you're unwinding these challenges over and over, it's like you're pulling it off. And when you pull it off, it's exhausting. And the objective is to live in a very prosperous mindset, live in the flow frequently, so that you're not in resistance, and that prospects, clients, customers come to you easily and effortlessly. And the prospects and the people that join you, it's a level of ease. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to do business with them. They follow through on their words. They're not pathological liars. They are people, and men and women of influence or affluence, who follow through and follow up. And that's the prosperity you are seeking. But if you are in anxiety, fear, and doubt frequently, you'll attract your reality, people and situations to fulfill those feelings. The first time I ever heard the word vibration was here, Proctor. Proctor used to cover like the vibration. He used to talk about it, and I didn't really understand it, what he meant then. And then I started to share the stage with John Assaraf, and he started to explain the reticular activating system and the amygdala. Your amygdala in your brain is a pea-sized gland above your left ear. It's right inside where the reptilian brain is. The reptilian brain is the thinking brain that will think themselves out of opportunities and sabotage themselves. And that sabotage is because the reptilian brain will turn a kitten into a lion. It will take a hole in the ground and turn it into a mountain. The molehill into a mountain syndrome. That's what the analytical left brain will do, and it thinks itself into thinking. And thinking is what most people do. 78% of the population lives in low vibrational energy. They are overwhelmed in debt. They're overwhelmed in weight. They use the drugs called GLP-1, designed to make you fat. Those are the GLP-1 drugs. That's the category of drugs that America is addicted to in the present, what's amazing is how many people are addicted to that, and how so much of society carries debt and weight around with them. There's a connection to how much debt you have, how much weight you carry, because what it means is you're carrying the weight of the world on your body and in your shoulders. And this is why so many people have challenges with that. And it is just an epidemic that affects so much of the world. And if this is you, if you feel you're carrying so much weight, if you feel that you are under so much pressure, if this is your self-talk, well, then you're creating the situation to fulfill the feeling. As you have a better understanding of why you do what you do, Bob Campbell, good to see you this afternoon. As you have a better understanding of why you do what you do, you can step into the release phase of your life. Releasing. You are releasing the feelings you hold on to. You're releasing the regret. So it's like this. That's regret and that's worry. So if you live in regret and worry, it means you're overwhelmed all the time. And if you're chronically overwhelmed and you're chronically worried about the outcome, that gives you permission to sabotage yourself and procrastinate and avoid. Because ultimately what you're avoiding is you're avoiding responsibility. And this is what creates sporadic, inconsistent, poor habits. Because you don't really believe it. Now, there are times when you have a lot of talent, your talent will rise to the occasion. It'll rise up and your talent will carry you over the bridge, but because you're scared to stay over there, you run back on the other side. So that's the inconsistent mood swings, anxiety, fear, and doubt that you will recreate over and over to stay average. Because if you stay average, you don't get noticed. If you stay average, there's not a lot of responsibility. But your averageness gets exposed over a period of time because you can't keep up with the bills. And your averageness will keep you in a lot of anxiety, fear, and doubt. You were born to excel, and to excel, you have to let go of your anxiety, fear, and doubt about the future and the regret in the past, and the future hasn't happened. Your objective is to be right here, right now. And so in a right here, right now state, you begin to focus And that focus is not hocus pocus, I'm in focus. There's no magic to focus. Focus is being able to separate yourself. That's the vacuum law of prosperity. Focus is being able to separate yourself from the outside noise. It's to be able to silence the inner critic. It's to be able to shut down the worry about the future that hasn't happened. It's allowing yourself to let go of what ifs. It's allowing yourself to let go of the trauma, drama, relationships, jobs, and careers that do not serve you. And you begin to step up into your higher power and focus on what's going to bring you your best good instead of focusing on just barely getting by. And if you live barely getting by most of your life, then you are doing what is called making a living. See, making is force and means you're just barely living. And that's what 78% of the population does. And then only 22% of the population lives in a consciousness above courage. And then when it comes to the laws that govern money, only 10% of the population barely makes $100,000 a year. And to continue to go up into the law of the few, only 1% of the population makes $250,000 or more. And then only 1/20th of 1%, that's 1/20th of one, has a net worth of $1 million. So for those of you in the financial world, those of you selling insurance, those of you who are financial planners, those of you in the lending industry, you're in the mortgage industry, you're in real estate, what you're looking at is the law of the few. Only a few people will ever cross that bridge of consciousness. And for those of you in business, only a few of you will stay in a business long enough to master your emotions so you can master the skills to be and stay in that relaxed body. The relaxed body is prosperity. So the holistic body, the naturopathic body, is the body that is free of toxins. And the more that you can detox and cleanse yourself through heavy metal detoxing and understanding what that means, you're taking the metals in the food out of your body, the processed food that we consume. And we in America, we consume the worst food in the world. If you go to any other country, you're going to find that the produce is better, the produce is fresher. We have mRNA in a lot of our food sources. We have a lot of our food is injected. We don't even know what we're eating. We think we're having something healthy at Chick-fil-A, and you find out later that it's been injected. Or you find out that what you're eating isn't even real meat. Or you find out if you buy a peel and Bill Gates' produce, you'll find out about it. Do your research on yellow corn. I mean, I grew up in tall corn country in Iowa. That is a hybrid. So the corn that comes from the yellow corn that is fed to cattle is not indigenous to the land. That is a genetically modified corn, and it's fed to all cattle. If you want to be in your highest consciousness, in the vacuum law of prosperity, then you have to be an exceptional person. You'd have to learn to eat non-mRNA injected animals, non-injected mRNA cattle. You would eat range-fed buffalo, range-fed elk, like I do occasionally. I buy meat from, you can go to the store this afternoon. It's called Jackson Hole Buffalo Company. You can buy elk fillets and buffalo meat that has been non-mRNA and injected. There is one network marketing company that sells cattle that sells meat that is not mRNA injected. And so you can eat at a 5-star restaurant. You can eat at the best steakhouse in Miami, Beverly Hills, South Beach, all of this. But a lot of it, see, Joe just said it, Joe just said, restaurants almost all cook in seed oils. 98% of corn is genetically modified. Now that is my client, Joe Casper, who's in a whole nother league of understanding what I understand. So he and I are in alignment with this. And so if you want to be prosperous, you have to treat your body like the temple that it really is. And you would have to begin to let go of the alcohol, the marijuana, vaping, the bad food you eat, the fast food you eat, the processed food you eat. You'd be in a different level of exercise. You'd be in a different level of meditation. You'd start to treat your body differently. You'd take a look at the relationships you're in. You'd make modifications to them. You'd live in a more non-attached state because now you're moving into higher levels of this right here, prosperity. And this is what this CD set This is how long I've been in the game. 1999 when I produced this. Principles for prosperity. It means exactly what it means. It means your principles are your character. So you have character assets that lead to living a prosperous life. That's exactly what this meant. Prosperity does not mean money. Money is one component of prospero or prosperity, but the most prosperous way you can possibly live is in your emotional state. So when you move out of lack, poverty consciousness, when you move out of debt, when you move out of just barely getting by and scarcity, when you let go of the people who whisper in your ear how broke you are, how you'll never make it, to grow up and get real. I was told by people in my circle of influence to stop chasing rainbows, to grow up, to get real, to get off my high horse. I was accused of being a guru because I was reading the books. That it was amazing how I was doing yoga in my late teenage years. I was practicing meditation early in my 20s. I was looking at ways to better myself, and the people in my circle of influence were thinking, "What are you doing? You're crazy, dude." I mean, this is how a lot of people in the outer world look at, or in your circle of influence look at you in your inner world. And it's going to be your responsibility to align yourself with people who believe what you believe. And as you begin to stand firm in that belief, as you let go of the trauma bonds and panic patterns, if you let go of the naysayers, the spiritual vampires, the emotional vampires, the people that suck the life out of you, as you let go of your poverty consciousness, if you're sitting there, or if you're listening to this content right today, and you have a lot of credit card debt, you have no money, if you have pennies in your pocket, zero in your bank account, creditors calling, that's a direct quote from the great Jim Rohn, it's time for you to change your philosophy. If you're living in scarcity consciousness, it's going to be your responsibility to access prosperity consciousness. If you want to be in the law of the few, if you want to be an outlier, then it's who you surround yourself with. It's who are you being mentored by? Who are you following? What are you listening to? What are you reading? Where is your direction? Where is your focus? Where is your character? But if you continue to live in rock bottom and keep recreating the same situation, and you keep your power of association, if you keep associating with the same set of people and the same set of circumstances, if you feel controlled by someone, if you feel dominated by someone, if you feel that you're in a traumatic relationship or a job that doesn't reward you or any situation, change your philosophy, change your circumstances, change your association. Let go of the story you tell yourself about how difficult it's going to be. You have to be able to do it one step at a time. What many people do is they astral project, they leave their body, and they go out into the future of how difficult it's going to be, which now gives them permission and an excuse to recreate the same situation over and over to fulfill the same set of feelings. I'm going to show you this one more time. So Bob Proctor, I had dreamed of meeting Bob Proctor. My very first speaking engagement, number one, my very first paid speaking engagement in Acapulco, Mexico, October 1998, I shared the stage with Bob Proctor. I go to his table. He signs his book for me, 1998, right there, 98, Bob Proctor. And it's this book right here, You Were Born Rich. I had been following Proctor, reading Proctor. He's from Toronto, Canada. His background is he started his sales training with Nightingale Conant. He was the number one sales representative for Nightingale Conant, which at the time was the number one personal development store that you could buy content from. That was the great Earl Nightingale, and all of you should have this in your repertoire. You should have the audio or the video, The Strangest Secret by the late Earl Nightingale. Some of the greatest content. Jim Rohn was a student of that, and some of the greatest speakers from the 60s studied Earl Nightingale, and some of the greatest philosophies and some of the greatest prosperous thoughts came from that, and that's where Proctor came from. The vacuum law of prosperity. So if you have a garage that you can't get your car in, that's not the vacuum law of prosperity. So the metaphor is you begin to clean that garage out and you throw everything away that you can possibly throw away. And you let go, well, I better save this for the Salvation Army. I better save this for the thrift store. Or I might want to give this away. Just throw it away. Just release it. But if you continue to intellectualize it, you have to create the allow space. You can't possibly attract your reality. The people that you require, when you're in your own trauma, drama, chaos, overwhelm, and when you're in codependency. So when you are living in codependent emotions mean that you are holding on to that, over obligating yourself, doing more for others than you do for yourself, putting yourself last, thinking that you're being noble. All you're being is being a noble struggler. And if you're a noble struggler, you cannot struggle to success. Success means that you will separate yourself from the trauma. There's 4 traumas that affect you. Generational. That's the long-term effects of the family you grew up in. Emotional. That's the criticism that you received, either in grade school, high school, junior high, families, and people in your circle of influence. Physical. That's the spankings you endured with a ruler or a wooden spoon. Those are the weapons of choice of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. If you were put on Ritalin as a child because the Rockefeller Foundation deemed you to have those acronyms, you know what they are. They start with A, and all those acronyms. If you were seduced into believing that was you, and you're still on those petroleum tablets, it is time for you to get off of them. If you are not seeing holistic, naturopathic guidance, it's time to step into it. It is time to really step up your game. And the term diet, you're not dieting. You want to have healthy choices. If you're not having healthy choices, then you're going to be unhealthy. That's the duality of it. And if you're not in higher consciousness, then you're in lower consciousness. And if you continue to stay in the same situation over and over, you're going to perpetuate the same set of feelings. If you think you're staying in a relationship or a job to protect other people, then you're just lying to yourself. You're just doing that because that's who you are. And if you're not willing to really step up and put yourself first and take care of you, how can you take care of others? I mean, this is top tier content. That if you don't understand this, then you're going to continue to create the same situation over and over, to perpetuate the same set of feelings and create the same outcome. Your objective is to live your best self, and you only can do that by focusing on you without feeling guilty. That doesn't mean you still can't be a man or a woman of influence. That doesn't mean you can't give people a hand up, but you got to stop putting yourself last. Your health is first, because your health is always your wealth. And you will never be able to experience your wealth if you're not healthy. So if you're in that whole Rockefeller Foundation, I don't have to spell it out for you, but if you're still in that Rockefeller Foundation philosophy of the 20s, and you're still going to those same practitioners that keep handing you these, they go this, the red and blue, they want you to put this. And so if you can put those, and you're swallowing and ingesting those, you're intoxicated by it. And the food we eat intoxicates us. I mean, this takes a man and a woman of true commitment to really step up into their consciousness to be your best self. That means heavy metal detoxing. That means fasting. That means exercise. That means relaxed exercise. That means reading, listening, being, doing, standing in the grass, taking your shoes off. I was doing construction for the last 2 days in my own home. I have a construction project going on in my home today. I did several of my own construction projects over the weekend. It was very liberating to be an American in my own home, doing my own construction, standing in the grass, praying to God. I don't require getting on a plane, going to Machu Picchu and taking a picture at the top of the Andes Mountains, going through all that so I can put it on Facebook. Standing in the grass, surrendering to God is good enough for me. I don't know if it's good enough for you, but it's good enough to me. And it was a lot easier than taking these trips, going out of my body on a metal plane, going through all the lines we have to go through. In America, you're supposed to have what is called a government ID. And do you have any idea what happens if you don't know this? Do you have any idea what happens when you volunteer to go through the fast lines with TSA? You must read the fine print on what power you're giving away. People don't even know this. I mean, I've done it before myself. The iris detection, the government IDs. I mean, we're in a whole new level of scrutiny. This is why it's going to be your responsibility in these times, these times when transhumanism is real, when when AI is all around you. I mean, you're witnessing, you're watching this. This is your responsibility right here to step up to the plate and be your best self. I mean, it's your time. You're called for it. You're a black sheep. You don't fit in. You're in the right place at the right time. It's your responsibility to recognize it. I've been playing this game since I got clean and sober, and it's since 1988. And I really started to next level it in the 90s. In 1992, when I learned muscle testing, a holistic practitioner, I started to understand what it means to let go. And this is the skill set that I've been teaching for years. I taught it to my team when I was building network marketing companies. But once I became a coach in 1998, I started to have a deeper understanding that my career wasn't about selling. My career focus would be teaching people the skill of letting go, the separation between the feelings and the events that shape them, and teaching people this right here: prosperity, principles for prosperity, prospero, in the flow. No longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings, to be able to separate your feelings from the events that shape them. I'm so inspired by many of you. Beth Blackmore, good to see you. Beth is my girl. She understands it. TC Bradley is right here with me. TC Bradley, right there, just came on Facebook Live. TC Bradley has seen my whole transformation. TC Bradley placed an ad in the USA Today on December 26, 1997. I answered it in Beverly Hills, California, actually at the cross street of Century Boulevard, Olympic and Beverly Glen. I answered his ad at an AM PM mini mart on a brick cell phone. TC is on the phone. He is my witness. He is a man of God. He wrote the book God Made Millionaire. He has his own TV channel. TC was my upline in a company. He watched me cross the bridge, and he crossed it with me. He and I saw David Icke 4 times. We saw G. Edward Griffin speak 4 times. TC and me were homies back in the day. TC and I went different ways, and here he is today on my Facebook Live. A man who placed an ad in the newspaper. I mean, this is synchro destiny. You can't make this up. This is God. This is truth. Truth muscle test out. See, I was reading in the book today, this morning, and I was inspired by this book by Josh Waxman. I was reading in the book Eye of the Eye how if you take a picture of any picture and you put it in a manila folder and you give it to a child 5 to 10 years old and you muscle test that child, and whatever is in that picture that is truth, the child will have its arm straight. And then if what that picture is not truth, the child who has no connection to that picture, the arm will go weak in that manila, because that manila envelope. You could put practically any government official in that picture, and a child who is nothing more than the separation in between there. So that child is just the muscle testee that'll either test strong or weak. That's because the body doesn't lie. That's what consciousness is. Consciousness is truth. Anything below 200 cycles a second, you are transmuting your feelings at falsehood. When you are living your own lie, when you keep telling yourself you are not good enough, you will continue to attract your reality, the same situation to fulfill the same set of feelings. TC knows the story. He's seen the whole situation. If you are on today's Facebook Live, I'm Breathe, Release, and Let Go. You can contact me at 209-649-1562. Or you can send me a message on Facebook Messenger. Thank you for being here this afternoon. Josh, good to see you. Thank you for bringing all of your team. Once again, if you were going to attend Millionaire Blueprint, send me a Facebook message or send me a message to my cell phone, 209-649-1562. I've been in collaboration with Josh Waxman about this event. We have a very, very unique content specifically designed for this event. This will be the highest consciousness event that Josh and I ever participated in. This will be number 7 for Josh and I. So we have hosted 6 events together. This is number 7, and this will be our uniquest event that he and I have ever collaborated in our highest level of consciousness. And he and I are both reading simultaneously. We are reading The Eye of the Eye by David Hawkins. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Breathe, release, and let go.